So you're thinking about polishing, learning how to polish. You want to know the best way to do it to get the best results. You've seen a lot of videos out there. There's a lot of conflicting information. Well, stay tuned because we are going to go over the right ways to use a machine to polish your paint. Hi, I'm Todd Cooprider. Welcome to the Esoteric channel. As I said, we're going to go into the details of how to use a DA polisher to get the most out of the looks of your paint. Let's say you got a used car, you want to get rid of swirls on it. You got a new car, you want to make it look better than what the factory's capable of. You're getting ready to wax, you're getting ready to coating, or maybe you've coated your car, you've got some high spots on it, you want to go back and fix those issues. We're going to talk about this. First of all, we have got our Rupus LHR 15 dual action machine. Dual action machines compared to rotaries, they're a lot easier to use. They're a lot safer. It's easier to train people on them. Maybe you're a detailer and thinking about getting employees. And done right, you can get just as much correction, just as good of a finish in less time than what you can with a rotary. I know all you rotary people out there are, screaming, no, that's not true. It is. We have got a Detailer Academy that you can come here, learn a little bit more about using it so we can show you just how capable this machine is. Now, you've got your machine, you want to team it up with the right products. Well, I'll tell you what, back in my early days of starting off, if I would have had somebody that brought to me a kit or a combination of techniques and products to get the most results out of, I would have saved a ton of time trying to figure out everything, trying to figure out what works best, what combinations. I spent tons of money, all these different polishes, all these different compounds, pads, trying to figure these things out. Well, for you, it's going to make it a lot easier because we have spent countless hours testing, developing, figuring out what is the best combination. Now, at the end, we'll also link you to a kit where we have all of this in one easy part number to get. But anyhow, back to polishing. Some people will say it's the products. Some people will say it's the techniques. Well, they're actually both right because it takes a combination of products and techniques. I can tell you what to buy, but if you don't use it right, you're going to get mediocre results. Or you can have great techniques, you can have the wrong combination of products, and once again, you're going to get mediocre results. But you have a couple of keys to get the most out of paint polishing. One, obviously making sure you have the right combination, but when you're polishing, it's about pad flatness. It's about overlap. It's about arm speed. It's about pressure. It's about machine speed and your working size. All those things come into play. And what I'm going to do here in a minute, I'm going to show you how I work a section so that you can look at that and then practice at home, try to replicate that process. If you follow all those rules with what we're using here, you're going to get fantastic results. So now we've got this. One thing I want to talk about is product. We like Perfect Finish here at Esoteric, been using it for a long time, have yet to find a product, particularly on a one-step, that gives us as much combination of cut and finish. It can be a finishing polish, it could be a one-step polish, it could be anything in between. Now when we're using this, we're going to use it with the yellow Rupus polishing pads. Gives you a good cut with a good finish. Pretty versatile, regardless of whether you have soft paint, hard paint, single stage paint, modern clear coats, it works for everything. Now we're getting ready to use it. We're going to use a very small amount. If you've watched videos, somebody squirting product all across that panel, unsubscribe to that channel because they're giving you bad information. A little bit goes a long way. If you use too much product, it's not going to break down properly and your cut and finish is going to suffer as a result. So we are using basically 3, call it pea-sized drops on here. It's all we need. You may say, well, wait a minute. I've seen videos or heard people talking about priming the pad. I've heard them talking about using water, all these other convoluted processes. Not necessary. At least when you're using good products, you don't need to do that. If you need to do all these extra steps to make a product work, you're using the wrong product. You need to change, get something that will save you time, save you effort. So if you look, 3 small drops, all you need, no priming. Doesn't matter if it's a brand new pad like this or a used pad. So when I put it on the surface, all I'm doing is I want to spread it around just a little bit so product doesn't go flinging off, getting all over the place. So I will just kind of quickly spread it around. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to outline this perfect circle. Now on speed, you want your machine at 4.5. It goes all the way up to 6. You never need 6 for anything, except for maybe if you're spin drying pads. 4.5 is your happy place. Don't go off of that. There's no need to start at slow speeds and work your way up. You're simply wasting time and effort when you're doing that. But what I want you to watch as I'm doing this, I want you to watch my work area. It's small, call it about 18 by 24. It's going to stay that size. It's not growing as I'm going through it. Watch my pad flatness. If your pad is up just a little bit, then you can lose 60% of your cut and finish. You want to keep that pad as flat as possible. Nice steady arm movement and overlapping 50%. What that means is as I'm going from left to right, you have the top of the pad, you have the bottom of the pad. The next time I come over, the middle of the pad is going to be right there at the bottom. I can go into a long discussion about why that is, but maybe that's a topic for another discussion. Just accept that that's what you need to do, a 50% overlap. And I'm going to go, I've got my left and right passes, and then I'm going to go my up and down passes, and then I'm going to repeat that process. That will take you through the breakdown cycle when you're talking about the size we're working on, the amount of product that we're working with, and the pressure that we're using. Pressure, when you're doing 1 steps, this kind of pad, you're in that 14 to 16 pound range. How do you know what that is? Simple, just take a set of bathroom scales, put your machine on it. Machine by itself is about 6 pounds. Put your machine on it, press down until you feel about 15 pounds. Repeat that a few times, and then try to look away from the scales, push down and look back down to make sure you're there. Because what you're doing is you're building muscle memory when you're doing that. You want to try to replicate that. Are there times you want more or less? Absolutely, there's always exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, stick to that kind of pressure, and that's going to get you a great combination of cut and finish. All right, now, so I've talked a lot of different things. I want to go into this process, and I want you to watch the process up close to make sure it's similar to what you're doing. And when I start off, I'll spread it in a little bit more, and then you'll see me slow down and get into my working area. It's going to be kind of loud, so I won't try talking during the process, but we'll talk afterwards. So, speed 4.5, cord up over your shoulder so it's not banging up against the side. I've already spread it in a little bit. Now, that's it. That's your working set. You see I did 2 sets left and right, 2 up, down. I kept my working area small, the same size as I started. Slow, steady arm movement, about 15 pounds of pressure. Kept that pad flat throughout the whole process. Also, when you come off of the surface, you notice I didn't let stop on the surface like that. You don't want to pick it up, then let go, because if your Velcro is starting to get loose, you can send a pad flying. You don't want to do that. So as I was coming up my last stroke, I just kind of let off and feathered off the surface like this. That way you're not going to cause any marring on the surface. You don't run a risk of throwing the pad. Now, you wouldn't want to do this at home. This is a test hood. It's beat up. It's got big scratches. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down on there. And as I'm wiping the surface off, I'm not going to circular motion. This isn't Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off all over the place. No, I want to go straight line motions as much as I can. And I'm just kind of turning it a little bit at the end, very little pressure to get everything off of there. Why is that? If I'm wiping all over the place and I look at it afterwards and I still see scratches all over, is that something I missed, or did I possibly cause that by the towel itself? If I'm going in straight lines, I look at it and I see it's still got some stuff in the paint. It's stuff I didn't get. If I've got straight lines, I've got an issue with my towel. I want to swap that out and get a fresh towel. Now, another thing that you definitely want when you're doing your one-step polishing or any polishing is a good light. I can inspect the surface. I want to look at it from different angles to make sure I got it all. Another thing that you can do, use your panel wipe. Wipe everything off just to make sure that you don't have any kind of issues with filling or anything else. You can wipe it, stop, inspect again, make sure everything looks good. So we've went over a lot of different aspects about it. Some things we talked about a little bit more in detail. Some of it we went a little bit more quickly. But if you follow those steps, keeping the pad flat, small amount of product, slow arm movement, keeping your work area small, and that machine speed at 4.5, follow it just as we did there, and I guarantee that you're going to have great results and you're going to get a lot more out of your polishing session. Now, you want more information on how to piece these things together. Once you click on the next video, we go into our Rupus one-step kit.